And sorry about that, coughing. Wraith continuing to harass dropships. Yeah, critically those dropships. If they cannot get into that base, and if they cannot drop, if they are delayed, Forgg might have the opportunity to retake the economic lead and more or less kind of, I don't want to say grasp from the jaws of defeat, because it's been kind of a ridiculous back and forth game altogether, and needs to be careful not losing Wraith as well. Still trying to suicide into those siege tanks. Might be able to suicide into those dropships as well, just kind of just careening through, doing what he can. And looks like that comsat has run out. More Wraith running in, more comsat being dropped, and it's just not enough. Wow. Now he decides to focus down that, still just suiciding in. Beautiful play right there. Just dodging back and forth, doing as can. Wow, how long does comsat last? I mean, holy crap. Still level 3 weapons on those siege tanks on the front door. 9 o'clock base, I'm sorry, the 3 o'clock base being blocked off, which honestly, Hiya would say, instead of blocking that off, take that for yourself. Planning another engineering bay, perhaps, just to provide a little bit of high ground spotting and to be a little bit more defensive. But critically, I think Forgg has regained the upper hand, because it's going to be well before Hiya can really execute with that base, and that one Goliath is not going to stop all those Wraiths, so he's probably going to be able to take out all these siege tanks at the 3 o'clock. Let's see if he bothers to comsat anytime soon, or even needs to. But the Wraith pouring continues, and it looks like it is going to be siege tanks with Wraith support. And I think Forgg, minute by minute, is getting a larger and larger army. And more than that, I feel like with those Wraith kind of wandering out in the field, he's got mobility too. So if he can kind of sneak into that 12 o'clock, looks like he's going to make a mad dash towards that 9 o'clock. I'm not sure if he comsated and realized that they're not, but definitely headed towards the right position to kind of do some counteracting damage. Might even be able to clean up that Goliath that's at his main. Keep some of those supply depots alive. But suiciding in there, dodging out of comsat a little bit. Looks like he's not able to get a lot of damage done there that he really wanted to. Okay, looks like that Goliath is out of there. I don't know if it fled to the north or what. Refugee. But Forgg, yeah, has 2 bases rolling right now. Looks actually like, never mind, the main is a lot thinner than I thought it was. So he's going to be to 1 base momentarily. And somehow there's, okay, I'm not sure. I wish I could see whose SCV that was, because whoever's SCV that is might end up winning it. Forgg snuck an SCV out. Somehow, I gotta assume from that bottom left, just had a rogue SCV that was hidden. So he's going to try to sneak in expansion, which is all he can do, is distract Hiya and sneak in expansion in that bottom right, and pray that he doesn't and keep pushing against this contain in the meantime, using those Wraith to spot and using what comsat he has. A little bit vulnerable. Let's see if these Wraiths, yeah, able to go in there, pick off that siege tank. I like seeing good micro like that. So Forgg putting up some pretty solid defense. Looks like some more siege tanks still at the 9 o'clock. I think I saw a little bit of distance mining happening there. But critically, Forgg able to get another expansion hidden in that bottom right. I gotta assume that Hiya, we haven't gotten a good look at the 12 o'clock in a while, but I gotta assume that's either thin or out at this stage as well, just because it's been running for such a long period of time. So Forgg at his natural expansion there in that upper right. Also, I think something might be spotting that bottom right. I'm not sure if that's Wraith or what. They're not showing it on the main map, but I do see kind of some reveal happening down there. But it looks like Forgg trying to regain kind of top-bottom control, retake the right-hand side of the map, and if he's able to do so and get those Wraith kind of moving out, he'll end up winning once again, because he'll be able to eventually retake that 9 o'clock, retake that 3 o'clock, and Forgg doesn't really have any bases left to take, I guess. Well, maybe the 6 o'clock, but even then, that'd be difficult to kind of work with and hold, and you can see Forgg, wow, taking that gas there. The Wraith are out in position. The only problem for Forgg right now is he just doesn't have the troops really to defend that bottom right-hand base. He's got to use Wraith in a very suicidal fashion to try to keep these troops back, and able to pick off all the Goliaths but one Goliath left. So very nice sniping. And now and he's able to do it. The siege tanks having to back off. Some SCVs kind of bumbling there out in the field. And critically, I got to assume that Hiya now knows that there's something there at that bottom right. Maybe not. But at the very least, maybe he's just been expending comsat left and right. And that's actually another clever maneuver, I got to say. Going Wraith is forcing these comsats to be expended, which is also making the likelihood of that base in that bottom right being undiscovered and being kind of not as aggressively pursued after. It's increasing the odds. So very nice kind of in-the-game strategy here from Forgg. Okay, 12 o'clock position now completely mined out, so it's going to be that natural expansion, a bunch of idle SCVs. I have no idea how they're going to be able to make it out to that bottom right. A couple siege tanks starting to make their way towards the 6 o'clock. The Wraith right there, once again, able to do some damage, but they don't have a lot of cloak left, and they're just starting to move their direction down. Looks like, I'm not sure if there's any ground troops that are starting to make their way here to that bottom right, and I almost wonder if Hiya thinks that this is more of defensive posture to try to gain additional territory. He needs to be careful. Mines right there behind. And those are not friendly, so continuing to push up. He is going to have the high ground to work with, but he's not going to have a lot of health left on those siege tanks, so this is going to be an absolutely desperate defense. And wow, an outnumbered defense, but a lot of siege tanks to the south. They are going to be repaired, but yeah, this is going to be very difficult to contend with. It looks like he was able to take one siege tank there, absorbing some damage and trying to do group repair on those Wraith as they're in combat and doing kind of spot hits here and there. And it looks like he might be able to take out all of the siege tanks on the low ground. And wow, that's going to send Hiya packing. 7 kills on that siege tank. Absolute hero siege tank. And it's not over yet, though. Hiya still with a dropship and more Wraith being produced. This is a huge critical defense in the bottom right. The open mouth. Hiya has got to get to that bottom right-hand corner and stop that base from producing. Otherwise, he will be at a solid economic disadvantage and not able to keep up, losing another siege tank there to the north. I don't think he has anything in that dropship to really push against this, and now I think he's behind in production, behind in troop count. The SCVs starting to flood their way to the south. Looks like they're getting taken out on the way, but if they make it safe to home base in the bottom right, that is going to be it. That will be GG. Instead, it looks like they're going to move suicidally forward to provide some spotting for this tank line. Another siege tank taken out, but every SCV that makes it down there counts, and it looks like Forgg has managed to take position in that bottom right, just a skeleton contain now for Hiya. Couple mines, okay, taken out. Wow, and Forgg able to sneak through. I got to assume that's depleted as well at the 12 o'clock, so it's one base left, and he's also going to take residence here at the 6 o'clock position. Beautiful play from Forgg, and I think that is going to be it. He's going to be able to get some more. Wow. So a nice comeback from Hiya and a beautiful counter recovery here from Forgg, never saying never, remaining calm and pulling back into this match. This is one of the best StarCraft matches of this year thus far, I've got to say. A really solid Terran versus Terran. Hiya still, if he can kind of suicide his way in and continue picking off a couple